Thank you. I'm Max. I'm one of the co-founders at Sentilink. As Naftali mentioned, we spun out of the online lender Affirm, initially to combat synthetic identity fraud, which occurs when a consumer applies for a financial product with a fictitious name, date of birth, and social security number combination. It's super peculiar, but if you literally made up PII and applied for a credit card, there's a number of financial institutions that would approve you. Uh, let's say, not quite. Cool. So similar to my friend Sadi, a bunch of very similar investors, Max Levchin, Hans Morris from Nika Partners, work with Andreessen Horowitz and David Sachs from Craft Ventures. And we've been able to get a bunch of folks from Affirm. So we have an API that connects at the point of application. We work with financial institutions for both credit cards, deposits, and all other sorts of financial products. We actually see about 1 million transactions every day. We're currently working with 6 of the top 15 banks, 4 of the top 10 credit unions, and a bunch of the fintechs that I think everybody is quite familiar with, again, including our friend Sadi over there. And there's a bunch of different types of fraud that we detect today. The way that we've sort of grown our business is going incredibly deep on very specific acute fraud issues. So I mentioned at the beginning, synthetic identity fraud occurs when somebody's applying for credit with a fictitious name, date of birth, SSN combination. Just true identity theft fraud had been quite prevalent over the last several years, especially with respect to still receiving stolen unemployment benefits. And then a number of different issues today where consumers would illegitimately claim to be the victims of identity theft. So I just wanted to actually walk through like one very concrete example of this. This is literally if you search by trade lines. My parents made me an authorized user on their credit card when I was growing up. My FICO score was much higher because of that. It turns out that you can literally pay strangers to add you as an authorized user to their credit card. They won't physically send you the credit card, but if, for instance, I bought this Capital One credit card right now, and I applied to Citibank for a credit card, Citibank would actually see me as between 50 and 100 points more creditworthy than I actually am. So again, there turns out to be this company, Tradeline Supply Company, that many fraudsters have sort of utilized to bust out for a lot quicker than they would have been able to in the past. Oh, sorry, that makes sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so a bunch of interesting problems to solve. Um, Financial institutions care quite a bit about both latency and uptime. Financial institutions rely on us to do a lot to all of their fraud detection. And we have up to about 500 milliseconds to make our decisions. Last year, over the last year, we roughly 10x our volume. Expect to do the same thing over the next year. And actually, large banks actually expect us to score their entire customer base in the matter of just a couple of days. So some pretty interesting technical problems. And on the recruiting side, these are a few of the roles that we're hiring for. So engineering manager. On the data side, we work very closely with our partners. So a solutions engineer and infrastructure is a sort of another big area for us. And one of the things that we really deeply stress internally is deep understanding, where every Friday the entire company actually gets together, works with our risk operations team, and spends a couple hours actually reviewing fraudulent cases with partners. So that's a little bit about Sentilink.